Hi there, welcome to What's Happening in Brazil. Let's start with the latest news from the country.
The 7th National Mobilization Out Bolsonaro joined the traditional demonstrations for the black consciousness and resistance in many cities on November 20th. With the motto, Out Bolsonaro, you racist, the demonstrators denounced the racism in the Bolsonaro government, the genocide of the black people, the state violence against the poor population, the economic crisis, the skyrocketing inflation, and the increase of hunger. The date honors Zumbi, one of the greatest leaders in the fight against slavery, which was assassinated on November 20, 1695. He headed the Palmares Quilombo, one of the biggest communities of black people who managed to run away from slavery. Therefore, Zumbi represents the fight and consciousness of black people. Brazil may begin 2022 with thousands of families being evacuated from their houses without any support from the state. That can make many families go to the streets of the big cities, worsening the current humanitarian crisis in which a lot of people already are. An estimate by the National Zero Hunger Campaign shows that since March 2020, when the pandemic was declared in Brazil, more than 23,000 families were expelled from their houses. Today, other 123,000 are at risk of evacuation in the coming months. Data shows the direct link between the worsening of the pandemic and the economic crisis with the increase in evacuations of tenants. Between August 2020 and October this year, the number of families living at risk of evacuation rose to 554%.
The community of Ipojuca, a city in Pernambuco state, has been denouncing gas emissions in the vicinity of the Abreu Lima Refinery, which would be responsible for the sickness of several of the city's residents. To understand the impact of toxic pollution on the region, take a look at the story of the week.
The city of Ipojuca is known for its paradise islands as Porto de Galinhas, Maracaípe, and Muro Alto. However, many things have changed since the installation of the Abreu Lima Refinery in Complexo do Suape. The people who live in that region, about 3,000 residents, complain that since the company moved to there in 2014, symptoms of respiratory problems, irritation of the skin and eyes, and even gastrointestinal problems emerged. They associate these health issues with intoxication by the company's gas emissions.
I had already fainted. I was at home with my daughters in the first days. We knew nothing about the company. What I know is that I vomited compulsorily. I wet my pants, and when I woke up, the SAMU ambulance was at my house.
The Suape Forum, an organization that defends the territorial and socio-environmental rights of the communities harmed by the Suape port in Ipojuca, has been following the fight and accusations made by the city's residents to the refinery, the executive and judiciary powers.
The Suape Forum has been receiving complaints from residents, mainly those who live in Ipojuca, of gas leaks from the Abreu Lima Refinery. Some time ago, it could have even been a minor leak with a temporary effect, but which still caused problems. What we have been noticing lately, maybe in the last 2 years or less, is that these gas leaks intensified. They are stronger. It's like if they are even more uncontrollable.
The main demand from the residents is the conclusion of a SINOX, an emission abatement unit that has a filtering equipment that minimizes the propagation of gases. It would prevent them from reaching the communities. However, since the inauguration of the refinery in 2014, nothing was done.
Why isn't our lives the priority here? How many children will become orphans? How many mothers will weep in their sons' coffins? How many more people will be hospitalized? Till now, who is paying the high price with their own lives is the people.
Hip-hop was born in the United States and arrived in Brazil in the 80s, showing that it's here to stay. In today's Culture Talk, we will show you the memory of Brazilian hip-hop from a period when women weren't welcome until today's reality, with LGBTQIA+ artists, indigenous singers, and the strength of rap music as a cultural phenomenon among people in the country.
Active in the hip-hop scene since 1985, Charilene is part of Brazil's hip-hop movement history. When she started attending break circles, women were not very welcome.
The brick circles opened and I wanted to come in, but men blocked. I pushed because I wanted to see the moves, to follow the moves. I had to do like in the subway, to push in order to come in.
Nowadays, there are many women in the rap scene, and it didn't stop growing. There are also plays to LGBTQIA+ artists and indigenous artists. Bro MCs is formed by 4 young Guarani Kaiowá from Dourados, Mato Grosso do Sul state. Rap surged in their lives very early through a radio program.
The local media always talked bad things about indigenous people. Oh, indigenous people is useless. They are tramp. I saw how things were here, and they were not like what media said about the Guarani Kaiowá people. That drove me to rap.
From the indigenous village in Mato Grosso do Sul to the city of Porto Alegre. Rafa Rafuage is part of the group that created the first hip-hop museum in Latin America. To be opened in May 2022, the idea is to create a collection that tells the story of the rap movement in Rio Grande do Sul since its beginning in the 80s.
What we imagine is that the example given by the Hip Hop Museum in Rio Grande do Sul will motivate people from other states to make that, in a very optimistic perspective, in the next 5 years, we are together in unity creating a Hip Hop National Museum.
Gathering generations and different social groups, today's Brazilian hip-hop is a movement that keeps growing.
Rap is becoming popular, just like in the US. Pop music in the United States is rap, so to speak. Here in Brazil, rap is starting to gain a pop phase. Look at the Spotify numbers, for instance. The most listed artists. Most are rap artists competing with sertanejo universitário music.
And now it's time for Brazilianism.
Today I'm gonna teach you an indigenous recipe with the very Brazilian ingredient that everybody loves. If you thought it is paçoca, crushed peanut candy, you're right. I'm gonna teach you how to prepare a homemade paçoca, which is delicious and easy to make. To make a sweet paçoca, you'll need saltless, roasted, skinless peanuts, sugar, salt, and flour, which can be cassava flour or corn flour. That's it. To prepare the homemade paçoca, start by processing the peanuts using a food processor or a blender. Press the pulse button. Look how it became a gummy dough due to the humidity of the peanuts. I'll take out a bit of the peanuts to start mixing the other ingredients little by little. So, let's see the sugar. Salt makes the difference in the sweet paçoca. It will add a salty taste to the recipe and that's the charm. Then, a little bit here. Now, let's add the flour. It's not much flour, it will bend the paçoca. I'm gonna show you how it looks when it is ready. That's when I would know it is ready. I'll shape the paçoca using these molds. They will look exactly like a cork. And that's ready. Bon appetit!
Did you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We will see you next week.